от сигарет кружится, как тези споры, тонкий английский лед, под ним кипящее море. Рюмка на полпальца, где-то усталая печень, но он опять рвется в зал, как будто последняя встреча. Жесткое вино разума обжигает, но будет спящих каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал. Где-то в Багдаде жара тонет в сарказме и прозе. Он пишет, как режет ножом, по мифам на белой бумаге. В студиях, в старых барах, в маленьких залах кампусов он ставит под роспись богов и веру сдает под авансом. Жесткое вино разума обжигает, но будет спящих каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал. Дело слабее, голос сипит, но шутка выходит точнее. Он поднимает стакан и говорит: поверим, кого соберет скорее. Публика держит дыхание, он не дает ей надежд, только упрямая да к сомнению и любви. Исследуй смерть, жестокое разума обжигает, но будет спящий каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал.
This land was made for you and me. That includes our poor and hungry. If you want to join the fight, come stand with us on the right side of history. Divided we stand, united we fall. In the belly of the beast, fighting fascists, the tyrants.
Good evening, everybody. Before we actually begin with the show, Dave and I certainly want to keep our thoughts in mind with Veg and his wife, because I know his wife apparently is in the hospital. And what else can we say? We really do have our hearts with you. It sucks. It really does. So hope things turn out, Veg. Really do. I'm glad you could be here. So anyway, yes, this is Divided We Stand on YouTube and on Facebook. This is Brian Weinstein from Bridgeton, New Jersey, and to my right would be Dave Price from Arlington, Virginia. Dave's a former educator. He's a podcaster, former musician. What else can you say? And also a journalist too, so we should add that. A lot to talk about tonight, folks. I'm sure you know what's coming, but it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. I don't know what's going to happen with my blood pressure tonight. I don't know what's going to happen with Dave's blood pressure, but we'll try to figure this thing out. All right, Dave. Good to see you. Rough
As
week.
always, Brian. As always. There aren't any easy ones. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we'll change it up a little bit tonight. I understand. I guess it's safe to say that you kind of have a crush on someone in the Trump administration.
I thought you thought I liked. First, it was what's her name? The one from in the theater doing her thing, Boebert.
Lauren Boebert.
And then you said Green. I mean, apparently, if they've got an R next to the name, I'm with them. You know?
you seem to be. I mean, I know it's a fantasy world, but so why don't we start with your latest flame, if that's the proper word, and that would be Miss Pam Bondi. Right. You expressed your love for her earlier, when we had the pre-show meeting, which, ladies and gentlemen, took all of about 15 seconds. That's how well we prepared for the show. What's your problem with nice little Miss Pamela there?
Just about everything. I've never liked her in the first place. It was just obnoxious, the fealty, everything. Well, let's just put it this way, Dave, and my friends out there, our friends out there. I come home for lunch for roughly maybe a half an hour tops, not even that, just to walk the dog. And so my wife had, she has her computer out there because she works at home, and she had her phone, and it was playing the congressional testimony of Pam Bondi. And it took no more than 3 minutes for me to get my blood pressure up. It was just obnoxious. It was, I know you are, but what am I? It was really the oldest trick out there. And the oldest trick, of course, is look over there. And it was personal. It was everything that Trump would have told her to have done, and she did it. So, Dave, it was the anger that I had, and I had to go back to work after that. And I don't like that kind of behavior anyway from people. And she is she's a real bitch, Actually, worse than that. I know what you called her, but you tell me.
Well, we have to face some facts, okay? As much as we don't want to. Donald Trump is president. Now, we can debate all night whether he should be. Is he qualified? Did he steal the election? Did somebody, did Biden, hand it to him by not? It doesn't matter at this point. Right. But what we also know is he has assembled the worst cabinet.
Here.
On two levels in American history. They are repugnant as human beings, but it's almost as if he didn't. Stephen Miller did, or somebody did. Looked at it and said, okay, who can we get to be the worst representative if we want to fuck with the people? So that's where RFK shows up. That's where Hegseth shows up. That's where Kristi Noem shows up. But Pam's a little different. Pam is the loyal soldier right now. Now, a lot of people, we joke about it, but a lot of people, they almost want, people think she's cute, and she's evil. Okay,
she's evil, and that's, we have to remember that. A lot of people get a pass because they're good looking, and that really sucks.
I think what happens too is you need to know more about what she did before. And we won't even go into it. But if you think she's bad now, she was just as bad as an attorney before. But what she has done is she has pledged her allegiance not to the flag, not to the Constitution, not to America, but simply to one man, Donald Trump, and whatever he says at the moment. Okay? Now, did she win any points in that? No, she did not. I don't know that she lost any, but see, the whole thing is there's a double thing going on here, right? Two sides, it's war. You can call it whatever you want. It's war, two sides. You want to try to beat the other side, but you don't want to lose any of your soldiers, right? So it's a double thing going on. And you want to win more soldiers. Well, she did not win more soldiers. I don't know if she lost any, but she certainly didn't win any. The other thing is, I don't know how smart Pam Bondi is. I mean, obviously, she went, she got through college. Whoop. Those of us have gone, have known it really just takes showing up once.
And I wouldn't put, I don't want to allude to anything, but I wouldn't put anything past her. I mean, talking to her during the time she was in college.
Yeah. And and
look at her character.
Sure, yeah, she doesn't really have one. And then she went to, now again, I usually don't like to put people down for where they went, in the sense that where Brian lives and I live now, there's a community college, and some of the best teachers that I've ever run across are in there. So I would venture to say that there are more great teachers in community colleges than there are in the major universities.
Right.
Because the major universities, my son being, he spends more time away from the university with, talks around the world and this kind of thing. And that's what happens. So, but you look at that. And then the thing I think that should disturb us more than anything else, and at the same time, give us a glimmer, a bright glimmer of hope, is she brought her burn book. And are you aware of what that was, Brian?
Well, I think you're alluding to, she had a notebook where she had each personality who was going to be asking her questions, right, and she had these personal insults that were prepared for each one of them. Is that pretty much
correct?
It?
Now,
okay.
That's exactly what a burn book is. Okay, and they're often used in junior high schools where girls write about boys. It's a very juvenile thing to begin with, but if you're going to use one, memorize it. Don't bring it out. And
right, she's reading. She's hurling these out, but she's reading.
Wait a minute! I got to look. Oh shit!
Right. Yeah.
Adam here. And then starts.
Right.
Come on, stop that. So I have to conclude that she is either not very good. I don't mean as a person. I'm talking about as an attorney, or not very bright, because one just does not do that. You just don't. Now, I understand that Trump is setting a new lower bar every day when he wakes up. I got that part, okay? But there's still, a lot of people still know what you're supposed to do. And I'm not talking about supposed to do in terms of moral. I'm just what you're supposed to do in your job, okay? Well, like this, Brian, say Monday, which is tomorrow, I believe.
It's Sunday.
I'm still.
We're usually on a Sunday schedule, so I can certainly understand.
We used to be
that.
on Sundays, and when we switched it, but if you went to class and had a book and just sat, a notebook like that, and read and just did that, kids would notice immediately, because that's not what a teacher is supposed to do.
Right.
All right. Well, Pam did it, and people don't know all about congressional hearings and this, but they do watch a lot of law shows, right? And they see that once in a while, let me refer to my notes, but they don't wed themselves to it, which she did. Okay. So I'm gonna call it. And actually, if you listen to the repartee back and forth, a few congressmen really crucified her. They did a good job. They did a good job. Now, all you're trying to do, it's sort of like a hearing. The group that we're both playing to, Brian, is the people we don't know for the most part. Do you know anyone who didn't vote? I don't. I'm not saying, I'm just in my circle.
I don't think
people
I
voted MAGA.
socialize with people who don't vote. There's just something about them. Usually they are uninformed. And I'm not trying to be pompous, but I can't deal with people who are ignorant or people who
Well,
just
but
don't
my,
vote.
but my point is, we don't even know who they are. Do you know what I mean? They don't even move in our circles. But we do know that that's who we're fighting to gain, because that's where they didn't have any position. And we have to help them do two things: to get a position, and to get the position that Trump is destroying America and is a threat to the world. Okay. So, Pam, but talking about the whole cabinet, Pam she was the one who got all the press, right? Because it was televised and all that. I don't think she did. I don't think she was the worst cabinet member. I think three did things either more dangerous or worse. So I'm going to tackle those for a moment, if I may.
By the way, I just want to mention that Joey did text me. Joey, he did call Pam Bondi the C word, so there are
Who
other... Joey.
Who did that?
Joey
And who else
Fulcher.
did? Who else would do that?
I think you did.
I would
You
never.
were the first one on Facebook to use that language.
No, I wasn't the first, because I'm not.
I haven't seen you use that word ever on Facebook. I think that was the
I've
first
never
time.
used. I've never.
No, well,
used
you use it. I mean,
I think
look, I
I
agree
think
with you.
Well, it's so demeaning. There are words that are so demeaning that I choose not to use them. But when I use them, I'm serious about them.
Right.
And she is, and think about this. And why I feel safe in doing that is, are we keeping you awake?
I'm okay. No, it's
What?
just my hour, man. I'm in a yawn. My brain gets too warm. It needs to cool off.
Right. Well, here's why I feel safe in saying that. And you see it all the time if you're on Facebook.
Full of poop. It's just simple. It's like calling her a dummy. It's just full of poop. I mean, it's just...
Well, she is. She is. Sandy's
sometimes the non-curse word's even better, and that's a good example.
It is. But here's the thing, okay? What makes her the C
Colon.
word? Do you realize that she has had access to every single item in the Epstein report? And yet she can still defend Trump?
Where was
Think about
Merrick Garland in all this? You know, I'm glad Andy Kim agreed.
Merrick
Okay, I know
Garland-
you don't want to talk about him, but he's a jerk
No,
off.
I mean-
I mean,
It is. So what happens is, I'm just saying, but think about that. She and Kash Patel, who, by the way, please, Kash, listen to me. If you're listening or have a friend listening, please put on sunglasses. Your eyes.
I don't
freak
think.
me
I think
out.
his eyes are too big for any sunglasses.
No, it's just that, there's something wrong. I mean, come on, God. But anyway, those two have seen everything and can still find it in their heart, in their head, and if they have a soul, or any of us have a soul, in their soul, to go ahead. Now, that's Pam. Terrible week, bad representation, horrible person. But she probably is one of the brighter ones in the cabinet.
I would
honestly.
imagine. Right.
Because some of the others don't. So let's look at three of my favorites. You get to pick the.
Are you
order.
attracted
got
to any of them, by the way? Can I ask you? Because you mention me all the time, no matter who it is. But
I mean, I can list some people I'm attracted.
are they
to.
female? Are they female? Any females? in
Yeah,
there?
Dolly
No?
Parton, Jane Fonda, Stormy Daniels, and all for different reasons. But,
Which is interesting, and I'm not putting you down, but I think many people say, well, those three names. I mean, none of them are unattractive, no doubt about that. But none are any super attractive. There's something about them that you.
No, I'm not attracted to that. Think what they share in common. They're all.
Well, I know
activists.
two of them who. Well, not Jane Fonda. I mean.
She's an activist.
Oh! I thought you were talking about something physical.
No, she's an activist. Dolly
My
Parton
apologies.
is the best in America. If somebody said tomorrow, who, you can't have a politician, who do you want for president? I would choose Dolly Parton.
You think
And
that Stormy
Stormy-
Daniels is a good actress? I mean, no, activist. You said activist. Okay, good.
Activist. Well, she started it all. And I'll tell you what, those who
She's
know,
not a Democrat, though. You know that, right? I mean,
it doesn't matter. What she's so good at is she's so good at handling Twitter trolls. She's the best and as a writer, that's something. And so there's, you asked me, so there's three. I
Okay.
with a few more
Fair enough.
that no longer exist. But again, I'm not trying to say, oh man, of course you look for looks. But you know what, Brian, and maybe it's living here for 15 years. We don't go as much now because they don't have them. But there are 6 think tanks that we went to regularly, Judy and I. along a political spectrum scale, and three of them were on the right. One is AI, American Enterprise Institute, and that's the think tank for the Reagans, the Bushes, the wealthy, the Cheneys, those kinds of people. Forbes, Malcolm Forbes. Then you had Cato, which is the libertarian. Libertarian is sometimes gets a little pass. No, libertarian or right wing, they are.
Right. They just don't have a foreign policy. The same thing as Republicans.
And they're and a lot of what they do makes sense, but they feel that business doesn't have to be regulated and guns don't have to be
Right.
regulated. And I'm sorry, you're wrong. But some smart young people in both of them, and some smart older people, and then of course Heritage, which is actually the think tank for the Trump administration. Quite a few people were taken from there and embedded in different places in the administration. And there are some scary, scary, scary people. But they are the brain trust of the MAGA party. And some of them are extremely, extremely
They
intelligent.
have to be
But
to get these.
they're-
They put dopes out there, but they were effective.
Well, because think about it.
The dope is
You know,
the voter.
Well,
Find a friend who votes for Trump, and you'll
if you're
show a dope.
if you're a Republican who only cares about winning, don't care what you do to the country, just going to win.
Right.
Trump is an ideal candidate. Trump, he's malleable, right? You take somebody with experience of Joe Biden. I mean, Biden is going to do what Biden wanted to do, right? I mean, he would listen, but Trump has, so it's a trade-off. You can control Trump, they think, and so far they've done a decent job of it. But anyway, looking at these people. So you want to go with Kristi Noem first, Pete Hegseth?
Why
or
not?
RFK?
One's
Which
just as
one?
bad as the next. Let's go with Noam and
Which
get
one
her
you
out
want?
of here. I mean,
Okay.
she's pathetic.
Well, a couple things going on with Kristi Noem. She basically, and we'll end with Bondi. I'm going to come back to Bondi in a moment because it ties into all of them. But first with Kristi, she delivered exactly what Trump is, what the Trump party is, what the Republican Party is, and it is the exact opposite of what MAGA wants as far as, what they get. So Kristi gets on a plane. She's, they're calling her the queen of cosplay. I mean, she dresses up with this stuff. Kristi, stop with the facial shit. She was a good looking woman too before she started with that MAGA, or not really MAGA, Mar-a-Lago look. Anyway, as the story goes, it's been verified. They're flying somewhere, and now again, normally I really don't care. I really don't care what a person does sexually in their relationship, unless a couple lines are crossed. One is if you're hypocritical. For example, if you are homosexual and you're cracking down on gays, like, say, Roy Cohn did, that's wrong. And secondly, if you're what Donald Trump, having sex with underage girls is wrong. But in this case, Kristi Noem and Lebowski, who is now her aide, they wanted to make him top
Lewandowski,
aide.
you mean?
They're, yeah, and they are an item.
You don't want to get
They're an item.
the big Lebowski in trouble here.
Yeah, that's true. And so, but what happened? I mean,
cool.
that's fine. And, I'm not going to say that. But again, they actually have a private room on the plane, which is a plane that is way more expensive than any other cabinet member has ever flown. So again, you've got this. But what? So what does she do that's so bad? Well,
Besides shooting animals.
they were landing. Well, I mean, this isn't as bad, but this is kind of bad. So the plane lands somewhere because it had engine problem or something. I mean, nothing life-threatening. And what happens is this: they have to switch planes. So the pilot comes on, and she found out, Brian, to her startlement, that apparently he didn't recognize who the hell he was flying around because he left her blankie on the other plane. Left her blanket. And you know what she did, Brian? By the way, we're blurring out a bit on your side, just to let you know. At least on
I
my
just don't
end.
see it. Just out there? Are you seeing a blurring out? Because Dave has had a little bit of lag and a little bit of blur, so I want to make sure
Yeah,
that it's
because Brian, you
just
had
one.
more, but I can't tell
I'm
if my
not seeing.
vocals.
Don't forget, it's originating from here, so I'm probably not going to
Well,
see
I know.
any of
Well,
it.
it's whatever. Just let us know, people, if you know. I mean, it's okay if you can't hear Brian or can't see Brian, but the other guy is really good on the show. Um, so seriously, a blanket, and you know what she did, Brian? She fired the military pilot right there
Nice.
for not bringing her blanket on the plane.
It sounds like 16th century England or 17th century England.
Well, certainly, and that's exactly where she sees herself. Now, you say, well, no, she is a murderer. Just simple. She is a murderer because she killed the dog. And think about it. I was having a conversation with a few people down here this week, and we're talking about that. In what world do you think, A, it's okay to kill a dog? But if you do, in what world do you put it in your memoirs saying you did it?
Right.
Now, I'm assuming very few people knew that she killed the dog if she didn't tell somebody, right? It's not something you run around and proclaim. But she did, and the reason people were saying, and I think there's some truth to that, is she thought it would endear, her more to the macho MAGA. But even MAGA has some lines that they'll draw, and I think Trump's and his people are going over one. I do not think that MAGA, if they could believe that Donald Trump fucked 7-year-old girls, 9-year-old girls, 13-year-old, doesn't matter. If they just can't believe it, but if they did, they would turn. They would turn. So it's the same thing with the dog. I mean, I think there are a lot of people, just because you're a MAGA doesn't mean you don't love your animals.
Right.
And so she's already done that. But that blanket thing is just, my God. And to fire the guy and have to take him back because there's no one else to fly the plane. They are stupid, stupid, stupid. Wait a minute. Dunce Cap, I'm sorry. I usually don't argue with the audience, but I don't think the phrase Brian looking great should be
He's
placed
saying if it's
anywhere.
blurry, it's great.
Oh.
Equal.
Oh, boy, are you smart, Dunce Cap. What is it? Anyway. Well, let's go in order here. So, not to, it's sort of like, remember the joke, that's the best answer I've ever seen. Here, hold my beer. This is a couple hold my beer moments. So Pete Hegseth, not to be outdone, and this I think was the most disturbing thing to me this week. And I'll try to explain why. And I'm not saying anybody should agree with me, but I woke up, whatever morning it was, and there was a 10-day blackout flying for Laredo or El Paso, right?
Right, El Paso.
And what's that mean? That means, and of course, initially the reports were that we were sending military planes down there to attack Mexico. Now that was just reading into it, but our status is we'll attack anybody, anytime. And so they got it. And what they finally found out was they Hegseth and his people said that it was Mexican drug cartel drones. So they sent some anti-drone firepower down there, and they killed the drones. However, what they found out is they were holiday party balloons. Now, if you're going to tell me that the Pentagon cannot tell the difference between drones and balloons, and Hegseth has been destroying everybody there in terms of, it's like the F troop is left, right? They've let go of everybody. And so a few people, even I know, have resigned from military because of that. I mean, that's scary, Brian. That really is. It's because that's something you have to be able to do. I mean, hell, that's like Defense 101. Know what's attacking you. So, and Hegseth, of course, also got his comeuppance this week because, and I'm going to save that for later, though, but that was his big film. But maybe not my favorite. Yeah, maybe even my favorite was RFK Jr. And this falls into the idea of Kristi Noem saying I killed a dog. Now, we all know, I would say that the most dangerous, I don't know about you or anyone else out there, RFK is the most dangerous of the cabinet members because he deals with health and human services. And his idea of health is so far removed from he would fit back in the bloodletting leech era. I mean, he has nothing. I mean, there's nothing there. So, somebody asked him, said, "Look, aren't you a little worried? We've got this measles outbreak, which I think we have 3 now in America, that are relatively large, which we haven't had for how many decades? Gee, I wonder what happened. Oh, did RFK Jr. take over? Oh, yeah." And doing that, so he said, he looks at me and said, "I'm not scared of germs. Man, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats." That is the highest ranking health official in the land. And that's his response. I'm not scared, man. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. So I ask you a question, Brian. Have you ever snorted cocaine off of a toilet seat?
Never snorted cocaine, period.
Right. Well, I cannot say that. I've snorted my share of cocaine. But
Why the toilet? I mean, I don't know. I am naive. Why a toilet seat of anything?
Well, that's a good question. Okay. I mean, there's no good answer for it, but it's a great question. Normally, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it.
Throw up afterwards or something? I don't know.
No. It's just that was you know what it was? It was he was taking it in the bathroom. In other words, he was doing it in the bathroom. And instead of laying out, the idea is always to have a mirror or something. You would use glass because that was easy to lay out, And if you're really showing off, you'd use $100 bill to snort it. But anyway, it's just like, again, if you did that, what the hell would possess you to say that, in your right mind?
Right.
I mean, I don't really go around, what's next? Oh, yeah, I'm not scared of germs. I used to lick toilet seats. I mean, what is all that? So you've got the cabinet members, and then we're going to return to your personal love there, Miss Bondi, and close out with this cabinet thing. With her, I think, Brian, she said something that will go down in world history as the same as Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. By the way, Marie Antoinette never said that, but it gets attributed to her, right? With Pam Bondi's, but the Dow is at 50,000. And that sums it up. Everybody in America can die, but if the Dow is high, everything's good. And that's the Trump idea. That is the billionaire oligarchy. That is Jeff Bezos firing 300 reporters and killing 2 sections, which were actually 2 of the best in America. The sports writers were the best of any newspaper in America and have been, and they killed the book section, which was, after the New York Times, New York Magazine Review of Books, Washington Post was 3rd best in the nation. So that's Elon Musk deciding now, nah, we're not going to the moon. Nah. Oh, yeah, we are. No, wait, Mars. Where was I going? And now he's reversed. We're not going to Mars. We're going to the moon. He's going to establish a city. And now if he would take all the MAGA people and all the Republicans, I would be fine. I'll give him the moon. I'm fine. But it's not going to happen. So I think what this week said, stuff we know, but it just sometimes it hits hard. That's 4 cabinet members acting either like a 3-year-old or saying things that absolutely are counterproductive even to their own. They are incompetent and they are evil. And I will say this, I don't like incompetence and I don't like evil, but I'd rather have that combination than competent, intelligent, and evil. That's worse. So they have one of the 3, So does that make it easier? Yeah, I think it does make it easier because they're making too many mistakes. It doesn't make that many mistakes is Stephen Miller. Again, he is evil incarnate. His wife is just as bad. But Miller has the ability, it's getting tricky a little bit, but he stays out of the limelight, right? I mean, he really does for the most part. He didn't take a cabinet.
Right. You only see, every once in a while there's a clip on, Fox or something like that. We'll speak, but other than that, no.
And Miller does that by design. I mean, and I would submit this.
He lurks.
Yeah, as Rod Sterling used to say, I submit for your consideration. Um, Miller is the only person who started with Trump on day one in the first administration and is still there. You do realize that, right? He's the only one.
Right. And you've
So that
said as
speaks.
much that he's the real problem behind Trump.
Oh, there's no question. Now, Bannon plays a different role, but I mean, if you look now, there may be if somebody were to look, there may be a clerk somewhere or something. But I'm talking about in any kind
Right.
of
His immediate
power
circle.
position, it's Miller. Okay. So, what else was going on down here? Well, something that doesn't relate to Trump, but also hurt Trump. Um, the Buddhist peace march, the walk. And it's funny how life works out. I really wanted to see them. I just thought that it was great what they were doing. There were 19 monks walking 2,300 miles from Texas to Washington, D.C., not to protest, but just to call attention to the peace which is available to all of us through Buddhism. That's really what their purpose was. Peace is there if you want it and you seek it. Okay. So I was saying, yeah, I want to go. And I knew this would have been Tuesday. So I knew on Wednesday that they were going to be at the Lincoln Memorial. And I said, it's cold, so I'll go down there and check it out. And just as I said that, Brian, we were walking in our underground here, and a woman said, "Did I just hear you say something about the Buddhist monks?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, I said, "Yeah." She said, "I just came from Alexandria, which is the next city down from us, and they were there, and they're walking right down here, right down your street." I said, "Wow."
And were they wearing their
I said,
garb?
"Yeah, oh yeah." So what happened was, she was from Rosemary was her name. She was from Portland, Oregon, and she was visiting her son, and she'd been following it, and so she had seen them. She went down to Alexandria to see him, and then she said she caught the metro and came up here, and we started. So she wanted to get lunch, so we went and got some lunch for her, and we waited, and here they come right down the street, all 19 of them, and yes, they were. Now a couple things were different. The leader often walked without shoes or anything. He did have some on, but there was still snow and ice, so that's not a big deal. And the dog, he was riding because that's a long way for a dog to walk to. He was riding in the van, but it was really interesting to watch the reaction of people. It was like, how you said you were in such a bad mood when you saw
Right.
Bondi and all that. This was like the reverse, right? This was like literally they were bringing like this fresh air, cold as shit, but bring this fresh air, something new. And they say, well, how does that affect? Well, I don't consider Trump the peace candidate. I don't consider him the peace president. So this stands in contrast. Could you see Donald Trump walking 2,300 miles for any cause? I don't think so. So it juxtaposed what a righteous, and when you say righteous, it's always dangerous because people think righteous religion. I'm not talking about that. Let's change it from righteous to right formed. I mean, there's no way that peace is not better than war. There's no way. I mean, that's just absolutely correct. Now, can you have it all the time? And is war ever justified? We go into there. So you had that contrast going too, which I think, again, the contrast was good. We need all these good things. And then just again, my one, you and I kind of see it. Now we don't see it differently. We both see it as bad. But when I don't want to say pessimistic. That's not correct. There's two ways to realistically approach this. One is they have all the power, and I don't know how we'll beat it. That's kind of the way you are. All right. That's kind of the way you are. And I see that. I mean, it is. I mean, they got everything. What do we have? We have the one thing, besides what I said before, incompetence that they have. We do have each other if we do the right things together. So some things that were going on this week that I found positive for our side. ICE. Now, again, you have to be careful with this. They said the report is ICE is out of Minnesota. That's not true. They took the extra ICE people out. So they're back to what they had. But still, the way it's being portrayed, that is a victory. You brought ICE in, now they're out. Who won? We did, the people. You've got some really election numbers that are incredible. We had a special election here on Tuesday. Two candidates, one position. It was a state senator's job, and the state senator that we had had been appointed to the new governor's cabinet. So there was an opening, and Mr. Weinstein, at the end when they counted it, it was 81% for the Democratic candidate, 19%
Wow.
for the Republican candidate. Now, this is a heavily Democratic area, but usually it's like 75-25, something like that. So significantly more, significantly less on their side. You've got still the repercussions from Bad Bunny, and we talked a little bit about that before. But the idea is two things. It shows, again, it just shows. But if you look at who's winning the entertainment war, we won that one. Mm-hmm. We won that one. We won it. We won it fair and squarely. We ran it on the right side. Bad Bunny. You've got the one congressman who's calling for investigation because it was gay pornography. Okay, whatever. And another, but basically, what I found interesting, Brian, and you and I have been talking about this for years and years and years. Okay, so I don't mean to speak for you, but I think we're both in agreement that pop culture may be the most significant force.
It's very much underrated.
Here in America. And I can't speak
correct.
to the world.
Right.
But now I think it's even taken on something else. Pop culture is now bigger than the Super Bowl. What do I mean by that? Now, I was struck, and maybe it was just, maybe it was just, I missed the articles. There were very few day after articles about the game. Very few.
And I can't imagine that the viewership for the game itself was that high. That's the first Super Bowl I didn't watch.
No, well, actually, you know what? Because it was the second highest ever. But actually, the Eagles and Chiefs had set the record. But of course, that's also a little different because as it expands into other world markets, right? And a lot of people watch the game just for Bad Bunny. I mean, that was it. So they stay with it. So they had their TV, But anyway, I just thought that might be looked back to as a significant when it's a moment when, wow, pop culture took over politics, but now it's bigger. I mean, I would make an argument, I don't know if you'd agree, the Super Bowl is the single most significant, largest single-day sports contest in the world, right? World Series, 7 games, World Cup, whole bunch.
I don't know soccer very well. How that works.
No, they're all tournaments. You know what I mean? Like maybe the World Cup final. Yeah, but just say this is one game. Well, you do have playoffs to get into, but anyway, got that going. Now this one really encouraged me this week. A lot of people have been saying, "Where are the young people in this? Where are the young people in this?" Well, they're coming out, Brian. High school after middle school, they're walking out. They're walking out in support of, or anti-ICE, or in support of immigrants.
But does that translate into votes?
It translates into what it No, here's what it translates into. It translates into news stories, which then translate into votes. I'll tell you how it might work, might not. But I'm just saying, it just keeps that in the air. Like all of a sudden now, you can't say kids aren't involved. They are. Before there was a big thing. Well, where are the young people? Well, now they're here, and they're not with you, are they, Mr. Maggot?
Right.
And they're not. Now that's I see a walkout in Alabama. I mean, if they did, my granddaughter would be the only person who walked out of school at her school. But I think that's very significant. Well, yeah, yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
How does she survive that crap?
She's a little bit like her grandfather in that. How do I say this? She knows she's right, and it doesn't affect her. I mean, I said the moment that I will go down in her high school history that I was the proudest of her is she went to Tuscaloosa Academy, which is more, it's the wealthy Republicans. Okay. It's not the other. And she wore a Support Trans Kids t-shirt. Mm-hmm. And she took the abuse and it was fine and whatever. And she just said, they're wrong. And that's cool. But as I say, now we're going to start seeing more kids get involved. And
you think she has been getting involved because of you?
No.
Or just naturally?
No. She's again, her parents are doing an excellent job of raising. everybody out there, if you know how tough it is to be a grandfather or grandmother, you got to stay out of it. But I mean, they are good. No, I think she actually is one of those people that just has a conscience that she abides by and is not swayed by anything other than that. And if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. She is very much a feminist, which then leads her down the path of supporting other minorities, right? So she's very gay supportive. So no, I mean, indirectly, but not directly. I mean, we'll talk about things, but it's always like, well, Grandpa, what do you think? And then, we'll go around that kind of way. Another thing that was great this week, guys, anybody out there, I'm not saying it's all rose colored. I'm just saying you look for the wins, and there were a hell of a lot of them this week. Let me do it this way. Negative wins by the cabinet, right, for us. I mean, they made fools of themselves. But then we got a grand jury.
Oh, did you really think you said earlier in the show that it probably didn't change any MAGA votes. I mean, so in a certain sense, for his constituents, they probably loved the Bondi thing and believed.
Oh, they did. I don't care. I mean, we're not fighting for them. Okay,
right.
We're fighting for the uncommitted to come to our side, and for us not to lose anybody. Okay, so you had Mark Kelly and the two other senators who spoke out and said exactly the correct thing, which was a military person does not have to follow orders if they're in opposition to the Constitution. That is clearly the law. And they said that, and of course Hegseth had charges filed against them. They went before the grand jury, and the grand jury said no. Now, the joke about a grand jury, it's funny, I just saw it on TV the other night too. The joke about a grand jury is a grand jury will indict a ham sandwich. Mm-hmm. That's the joke. Normally, so for them not to do something, the case, and this is, I think, the 7th time or 8th time that they brought a case before the grand jury, and they're 0 for 7 or 0 for 8, whatever that is. This was a big one, so that's good. Then you have more and more, not tons, but this week Lauren Boebert spoke out against Trump. Nancy Mace, another, staunch MAGA, said she will start naming the names. I think, and that's part of where I wanted to finish with this.
By the way, if I may interrupt, this is just speculation.
Sure.
Because we've talked about Epstein himself with his death. Do you think that Ghislaine Maxwell will perhaps end up with the same fate as Epstein or not?
No, and I'll tell you why I don't think. Well, you can't say for sure, but from what, if you read, there's 3 ways to read, right? You read the lines, which means you read the words. You read between the lines, and then you read beyond the lines. So reading between and beyond the lines, you can do it in life too. Epstein, nobody knew what he was going to testify to. Nobody knew. And that's why he was taken out. That's what I believe. Maxwell has already said, I will exonerate the president. So Donald Trump, not Donald Trump personally, but somebody's making sure.
She's certainly mad at Pam Bondi for saying, he hopes she rots and dies in prison or whatever, something like that.
But her, her best shot is to say Trump didn't do it right now. And I would do that too if I were her. I mean, obviously she has no moral compunction about anything. And some of the victims have said she was worse. And, because they felt that she was a woman and should protect them. And she was worse for not protecting them. And even some of the things she did to them were more abusive. I think what we're finding out, there's still like 3.5 million, I think, pages not out yet. And we know it's redacted. But more, I think that's something that well, I'm at a point now where I don't believe Trump was just hanging out with Epstein. I think it was an integral part of the whole thing. Yeah, I love that. That was Trump this week, and that's getting the next thing.
Actually, I didn't see that, but that's interesting.
No, because, it's the firstlings of his demented, delusional head, and he can't stop himself now. And that's because that's another great point as we wind down. This is fact. Trump is getting weaker and weaker every single day. He's going now sometimes he's going 2 or 3 days without responding to anything. So what that leads you to think is the day he does come out is one of the better days, and that man ain't having no good days. Okay. Now the question becomes, how soon can he die? Or how soon can he become incapacitated? Now, incapacitated is interesting. We have had presidents who have been incapacitated, Woodrow Wilson being one, Ronald Reagan being another, who their wives and administration was able to cover it up and they were able to continue. But nobody, no one has ever been able to have a dead president remain in office, right? Mm-hmm. So conceivably, and I think with all the emphasis now, remember, and all the news and fake news and false news and what have you, yeah, I mean, Sandy's right. I mean, there's no way. There's just too much evidence in, even with the redactions, to say anything other than that. And if it's very unfair. But I mean, Trump, and again, we talked about it a little bit on the last show, but I think it's very important. We all have to remember this is not about sex. It's not. It's about power. It's about a wealthy class with far too much money who needs to get their joys however they can. I mean, Brian, I don't know that. I mean, I hate to say things that I don't know are true, but there's intimations that actually will reach up to murder and reach up to cannibalism. Oh. Now, again, not saying it did, but there are indications. And it would make sense because, I mean, think about it, come on. Bill Gates got the shit kicked out of him every day in middle school for being a dweeb, and suddenly gets his power. And Bill Gates is, I mean, honestly, what he did was he took advantage of the girls. Now, maybe he had I'll only do 17-year-olds. Well, sorry, Bill. It just doesn't work that way. But we're finding more and more. What they say now, there's 7 associates of Trump in cabinet who
Lutnick, I know, is one of them for sure.
Yeah. And of course, Lutnick shouldn't be any. I mean, Lutnick is, hey, give me that $50,000. I'll just take that. I mean, he was caught with the bribe. But
that's Homan, isn't it? I mean, that was.
I'm Homan. I said Lutnick.
But Lutnick's no winner either. He's a real prick.
But you know what's interesting, and this doesn't bode well for Trump. 4 countries now have already dismissed leaders for just being mentioned in the files. So
good for
got
them.
This pressure. They're doing this, and we're doing that. They're doing this, we're doing that. People have resigned positions, prestigious positions at college as administrators. No, not all pedophiles are. I disagree. All pedophiles are not. Of course, they're not. But the idea of it is, I think there's something just missing besides the soul to want to have sex with kids. It just doesn't. Now, here's another statistic for you this week that came out in our favor. The 7th, January 6th that was pardoned. There's 7 now who, since they've been pardoned, and that would be January 27th, 28th, so not even a month, right? 7 of them have been re-indicted on child abuse and sexual abuse and pedophilia. So again, you say, well, but see, it keeps coming back to this, and it keeps waving. Wait a minute, and then you have to hit. Trump protects pedophiles. He parodied, even though it's not necessarily cause and effect. It's there. And Epstein is just not going away for Donald Trump. It's just not. It's not going to go.
But where until somebody just comes out with it, how are we going to get to that point where we can really nail?
You're still building, Brian. That's all. You're still building, and
you got to get leverage on somebody somehow. I don't know how you do it. But.
Well, first of all, we'll know. This is the first time that I felt
he must be threatening death because nobody's giving in on anything with him. Any of people in his circle.
Well, that's not true though. If you think about it, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not supporting him.
Yeah, she's one.
Lauren Boebert is not supporting him now. Nancy Mace is not supporting him now. The gentleman that he attacks from Kentucky, Massey, has never supported him. And remember too, as one person does it, it gets easier for the second person and the third. You know what I mean? So when it was lockstep, it was pretty hard. The other thing is, as you said, it's a question of, will we have an election? Will we have an election? And will it be fair? And of course, those questions have to wait till the election. But I do think Trump, because he's unable to keep a thought secret to himself, it just doesn't work. He's already talking about what he's going to do, which is he's going to, have the election with new voter rules. Well, he can't do that. Now, you say, well, he can. That may be the bridge too far.
Right.
I think there's a couple places. Where he's really, really vulnerable to losing a lot of support. One is the Epstein files. Okay, that's one, depending on how that plays out. And the other is to say we're going to disenfranchise votes and do it so publicly. The Republicans would love to do it privately, but now it's out in the open. There's nothing, because he said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They say, wait a minute, you can't do that without Congress. So at some point, now, will little Mikey Johnson ever change? No. Will Tommy Tuberville? He'll just be a bad governor for Alabama. He's leaving the Senate. And there's some people in the Senate that, I'm a little disappointed in that have left, because I think he would stay and fight, but they're just saying it's not worth it. Now, it is much easier, Brian, to beat a non-incumbent than it is to beat an incumbent. Jeff Van Drew gets about 25 points just for being the incumbent, okay, in your district. If Van Drew withdrew, all bets are off, right? And so the good thing about these redrawing is two things. One is they're going to have to get a new candidate. And there aren't that many, the Democratic bench is very deep. The Republican bench is not all that deep. And they're going to have to go, because in a primary, MAGA can win a primary, no question, in certain states, certain districts. But can it win statewide? And can it win? Virginia is going to realign their districts. It's going to go to a vote. It will pass overwhelmingly, and it will add 4 congressional seats to the Democrats, now held by Republicans. And if that happens, if that's all that happens, that's enough to overturn the Republican majority. So if I were a betting man, we don't know how it's going to turn out, but I would rather be, not because it's the side of right, I'd rather be on our side right now in the long run than the other side, just looking at
I hope
politics.
you're right, Dave. I really do.
Will the SAVE Act make it past the Senate? That's so tough. No, and again, please don't take this as anybody insight. My gut feeling is no. It'll be really close, but no. I'm going to say it won't, because there's been a lot of good reporting, good analysis. And basically, one of the things in the SAVE Act, and this is what happens. Do you realize Ronnie can't vote? Does she have a passport?
She has one that's not active.
She doesn't have a passport.
Right.
Does she have a birth certificate?
Yeah, we need it for my retirement, and it's not embossed, so we have to go to.
There you are. I'm just saying that. We had the same thing when I did that. And let's see what else.
Well, where are all these Republicans getting these embossed, birth certificates?
They don't. They don't have them either. They're already learning now. They're horrified with the SAVE Act. They looked at it and said, like they did a couple, informal polls.
Yeah, but why they have an R next to the name? They don't do anything about it.
No, but here's the thing: 75%, and I think it was Mississippi. I'm pretty sure 75% of the Republican voters do not have the documentation to vote. No passport. And see, with a woman, it's really clearly against them, because you have to have a current license with your maiden name. They do not recognize a married name. So it gets, yes, Sandy, if this passes. And at that point, if that passes, then maybe it is time for everybody to make a decision. Do I stay or do I go?
Right.
Because that will not be America. We can survive Trump as long as he doesn't push the nuclear button. We can survive it. But if everything Trump wants, or everything not Trump wants, everything Heritage Foundation wants comes in, then we got a big problem.
Right.
But right now, you know, we was end with this. I'm going to say this week was a good week for the good guys, and I'm more optimistic this week than I was last. Your turn, Brian.
I'm more angry than ever, but I don't. You know, Dave, like you said, the people who are voting for Trump are voting for Trump, and no matter how optimistic one is, I mean, look, it was an absurdity what she did. It was a performance. It was performance art.
Oh, Pam, you're talking.
Right,
Pam.
and it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to move the needle, and like you said, the chances are he's going to cheat. So I know where you're coming from, but
I think.
just
Well,
don't think it's going to matter.
He's going to make. What if two things are going to happen? He's going to be three things. He's going to be dead. He's going to be incapacitated. There's going to be such pressure that they're going to invoke the 25th.
Who's they?
That whoever can invoke the 25th. That's the cabinet.
I can't
Trump.
see
I mean,
that.
Trump. Well, you can't say. Okay, so let's just say this for a minute. We don't.
They're going to have
If
to
he-
catch him like
Well, you think
sundowning,
he could
you know,
survive?
and then
remember,
he's on camera.
He's the president of the United States. Mitch McConnell has fallen 3 times in the Senate. Okay, but it wasn't on international TV. If something happens, you know, where Trump, like, yes, Biden did, but I mean, what if he falls all the way down the step? They showed a picture the last time he flew. He was holding on. The only thing that was keeping him from going down those steps was Melania. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have 7 cats. My God. I have a friend, Sandy, don't think you have a lot. I have a friend, Brian knows her too. She has 52. So when you get up about 50, no. But yeah, we don't know what's. And I think, Brian, honestly, if we all sit back and look at it, what is the most frightening of all? It's that we don't know. We don't know how this is going to turn out. It's just like no person can ever say, I'm sorry, with certainty what happens when you die. If anybody would have come back to tell us, it would have been Houdini, and he wasn't able to. So I mean, you know, because I had this near death.
You can easily speculate, but yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know. I mean, you can't say because we.
Well,
Don't
I think
know.
you know. I think atheists know more than religious people what happens.
But you don't know, Brian. Tell me exactly what happens when you die. I can't say it. You can't
die.
say it. No one can. Okay, but what does that mean?
What it means is that your energy, like anything else, goes into the ground, and that's that. Because what happens to the dying star? It becomes you. Do you still remember being a dying star?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying you don't know. We don't know. We are.
Yeah, well, you
not-
can say about
we're-
anything. You don't know if there's a
Exactly.
blue, you know.
Exactly.
But
That's my
that
point.
shouldn't give you any hope, you know, by
Why do
saying
you always
that.
have to go with hope? I didn't say anything about hope. You always read that into it. What I'm saying is this: nobody in the world living today can say exactly what happens to them or any other person other than they're no longer going to function because you need to breathe on Earth. That's all you know.
Well, we know one of the possibilities is that not much happens except you die. You know, I mean that's one
Well,
possibility.
Well, yeah, but then you just said the word possibilities. There are many possibilities.
Yeah.
Some more logical than others. I think the one you had is the most logical. You know, energy can either be, you know, destroyed or created. So your energy goes somewhere. I mean, that's how that. But,
That's
but
how
I
it's
can't
gonna
swear to
work,
that.
yeah.
But I can't say, yeah. But you see, you have this thing where you believe that's true, and you can believe
It's the
it.
same thing. I mean,
Believe
you can't like absolutely prove the theory of. I mean, yes, you can. Well, gravity, but you
No,
know,
you can't.
you know, if you
There's
take a
nothing.
telephone, it's going to fall down if you drop it.
Well, the only certain
Maybe there's a
thing-
possibility that one time it's going to go up instead of down, but
Well,
you know, I
and
don't
there
know.
you are. And there you are. Now,
I'm still
I think
waiting.
the simplest way to say it is the only thing certain in life is uncertainty. That's it. Uncertainty and change. And that's
And
where we'll
pain.
bring it back. And I'll close with this. That is the fear. I think, and we all share it if we're not pro-Trumpers or pro-MAGA. It's the uncertainty of, will America survive this? Because right now, we are not the America
I have to
that
ask
we
you a
were.
question.
One second. Yeah.
Is the address of our back lot 56 Sunset Lake Road?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's emergency.
Now there you went again. Did you see what you just did there? Yes, it is. Well, I think so. Well, I think
I'm
so
still
is not
on,
no
yeah.
so.
I gotta pull
Okay.
the card. Make
So-
sure it's the exact address.
Now, see, this actually has probably something to do with what we have been dealing with. I'm retiring, and
Right.
Stay there.
Dave was mentioning about the legal documents, and I was mentioning the embossment of a birth certificate. And Ronnie has
Yeah.
a birth certificate; it's not embossed. So now we have to send something to New York, because if we don't do that, then my retirement doesn't go through. It has to be embossed. So we have to. There's a place that
Do you have it? Do you have an embossed one?
Yeah, I did that already. I actually did do that. Now they sent it back. This was about 5 years ago, and I was pissed I had to do
What
it.
made you do that? I mean, I'm not. It's great. I'm
No,
just saying-
there is and this is no pun on this. There's a site called Emboss, but it's an M
Okay.
and a BO
Right.
for the state of New Jersey. And for years, when you looked at my pension benefits, it says, "Do you approve of birth?" And it said no. And then it says, "You must send this. We'll send it back to you." And they did send it back about 4 months later, but I had to send an embossed.
Must. Yeah, because that caught
It was
me
a
by
real
surprise.
pain in the
I mean,
ass.
I was-
It's not easy in any
No.
case, and they're
And-
giving me 90 days to get her, because she's a beneficiary of mine. 90 days to get that embossed birth certificate. So I think the fastest way, obviously, to go to New York and to get it. You can get it, I guess, within a day if you're lucky, but it takes about 2 to 4 weeks to
And
get
remember, I'm not trying to bring you more bad news, but remember the one thing we haven't said yet. You realize we're in the middle of a government shutdown again. The second one, it's
Yeah, I don't
super-
even want to think about it.
So-
It just
No. What I'm saying is, so my point is for you. Now we're just talking French.
yeah, it sucks. It just sucks.
Is
Red
maybe-
tape sucks.
Go to New York. I'm just saying because it's worth it.
Well, I'm not
If
going.
you have
She's got to go.
Well, and it's not easy because I said I had to get mine. I always thought that's pretty cool, man. I got my birth certificate, and tra-la-la, I go in and say, "Oh no, this is what?" I said, "That's not embossed." I said, "What?" I said, "It's my birth certificate. It's the one that my mom gave me."
Right.
And so I had to go.
And
through
back in those
Harrisburg.
days, I mean, some days you didn't even have a birth certificate if you went back to the 1920s, and if you did have one, it was usually like photocopied in
right,
some
and
form.
that's so.
And it's a shame because it's not fair. Like it's just how do I prove that I'm me? Just stop this shit.
But that's
That's what we're dealing with. And it
That's
makes it
another-
very difficult because there's a time limit to these things, So if I don't get that back at a certain time, then my
well.
retirement is in limbo.
I'm going to give you an option. Okay, in the event that happens, just make me your beneficiary.
You get it
and I will
involved. Okay.
I mean, you already heard, ladies and gentlemen, he has another property. We heard that on live camera. I mean, the man's looking there.
Yeah, I have about like a third of an acre of trees, and yeah, I mean, so it's just I don't know. I don't know. I hate all this shit. I hate. That's one good thing about getting a dog, Dave. Is just it just
said you-
got my mind like not thinking about all the things that are bothering me, and
And
when,
Brian,
how
you
it's
were-
not anything. It's just when something gets on your mind and you can't. It's like a song that you don't like that just keeps running around in your head. You just got to get it out of there, and but yet you're stuck with it, and you got to get it out.
Well, and you would be absolutely insane if you didn't feel that way. The question is, with Freddie or whatever, you have to find things, and all of us, not speaking to you, I'm just saying, this is bad times, Bri. This
Oh,
is
man.
as bad. This is as bad as it gets without all the other stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like-
It's really shitty.
without everything. I mean, I was
The climate's bad.
I-
The politics
I
are
tried-
bad.
I just
Everything's
finished a
fucking
book
bad.
that I highly recommend for people. I don't know that I agree with it, but it's called "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies," and they're talking about a super AI, and they make a very convincing case. So you've got that. I mean, the future. I mean, I can say the future is uncertain, but it's not. Given the history of mankind, it's not good. Okay. I mean, well, there again, another thing we forgot to say tonight and running over, but. Trump came out and said the Pentagon is going to do contracts for coal. So he's supporting the coal industry. Well, that
He
doesn't
calls
help.
it clean coal. I hate hearing that shit.
No, but you know what I loved about that? Did you see the one thing? And this is a great way to end the show. So cut me off. Um, our president of the United States said this verbatim: windmills freeze. Coal doesn't feel cold. Our president, his environmental impact statement, his limit of science. If we were the gods of Olympus, and not being charged of anything, but if we were on that mountain, or if there was a heaven and you're looking down, this would be hilarious. But the stakes are too high to make it hilarious. So that makes it tragic. That makes it tragic.
All right, Dave.
All right, thank you everyone for being here. As you saw Brian acknowledge that in the event he runs into trouble, that he's going to give me all his worldly assets and go and join the monks for their march.
All right,
That's
sounds good enough. All right, yeah, folks.
Keep faith.
Not a good week. So we'll see you. Thank you.